Hey there, how are you doing? I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the series Prelims Mastery. Now, I hope this first part of the series of this December 2nd week was helpful for you. Now, the very intention of having this Prelims Mastery is to make sure that you master the concepts by solving MCQs. So that's the sole purpose of this very series here. Okay, so without much further ado, let's get on to the second part of the December 2nd Prelims Mastery. So what is the first question here? Let's check. Which of the following statements are correct? White Island is an active stratovolcano. And the second statement says it is one of the islands of Nicobar. Okay, now what do you think? Pause the video, think about this, and then check the answer. So let's check the answer. And the answer is A, one only. So White Island is an active stratovolcano. What is stratovolcano? Stratovolcanoes are those volcanoes which have multiple strata, multiple layers to it. They are quite steep, and the molten lava which flows out of them are very viscous in nature, very thick in nature. So they don't, when the molten lava flows out, they don't travel much distance. They solidify very quickly because of that viscosity, because of the thickness. Okay, now those volcanoes are called stratovolcano, and it says it is one of the islands of Nicobar. No, this very White Island volcano is in New Zealand. All right, now this was in news very recently when some of the tourists who went to see that very White Island volcano got stuck there. Okay, the next question. Which of the following statements are correct? The first statement says the National Food Security Act of 2013 includes the midday meal scheme, integrated child development services scheme, and the targeted public distribution system. The second statement says, as per the act, the eldest women of the household of age 18 years or above to be the head of the household for the purpose of issuing of ration cards. Pause the video, think about this. Let's check the answer. The answer says B, both. The statement 1 as well as the statement 2, both are right here. Both are correct statements. Let's go to the next one. Which of these are principal organs of United Nations? Principal organs of United Nations. The first one, United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. United Nations Security Council, UNSC, United Nations Development Program, UNDP, United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, that is UNCTAD. Now, which of these are the principal organs of United Nations? So let's check. It says A, 1 and 2, only of these 5, United Nations General Assembly and United Nations Security Council are the principal organs of United Nations. There are 6 principal organs of United Nations, and these 2 are one among those 6. And the other, 4 are, you have your UN Economic and Social Council. We also call it as UNISOC, UN Secretariat, UN International Court of Justice, and UN Trusteeship Council. So these are the 6 principal organs of UN. All right, the next one. Which of the following statements are correct here? International Court of Justice is in Hague with a panel of 15 judges. It is the only principal organization of UN with its headquarters outside New York City. So what do you think? Let's check the answer. The answer is C, both. Both are correct here. Now, why this question about UN and about International Court of Justice? Now, the question is here because of late, Gambia, one of the Western African nations, have pulled, Myanmar into the ICJ, because of the, atrocities which were done by Myanmar military forces on Rohingya minority Muslims. Okay, now that is the reason this very question has been asked here. Okay, the next one. Which of the following statements are true about electoral bonds? So it is like a promissory note that can be bought by any Indian citizen or company incorporated in India from RBI. These bonds can be encashed by political parties only. So what do you think? Which one is the right answer? So let's check. It says B2 only. Yes, only political parties can encash it. But however, if you want to buy it, you have to buy it from SBI, State Bank of India, and not RBI. And now, why this question is here? This question is here because of late there is an argument between RBI and the government. Now, RBI is asking that how come SBI got the opportunity to issue the electoral bonds when RBI, which is the principal body, which regulates all the banks, here is in place. Okay, so that is the reason this question is here. Now, electoral bonds were introduced to kind of, curb the corruption in political parties' propaganda. Okay, because basically when elections are announced, these big, industrialists, they go and donate some money to the political parties. Now, before the electoral bonds, mainly the donations were done through cash. Okay, now there was no, any accountability there. So hence, it was brought forth that if a political party has to receive any kind of donation, it has to receive only through electoral bonds. Now, let's say I want to donate a political party with some amount. Now, what I have to do is I have to go to SBI. I have to give that money to SBI stating that I need electoral bonds, and SBI would release or give me electoral bonds. The same electoral bonds I would take and I would donate it to a political party. Now, that political party should have a bank account, okay, in the name of that political party, and they have to go to the bank and they have to give the electoral bonds to get the money from the bank. So therefore, now the entire flow of money is in the eye of banking system. So that means only white money can be kind of exchanged here, and there is no place for black money. Okay, the next one. Which of the following statements are true about Joint Select Committee? The first statement says Joint Select Committee consists members from both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. It will be headed by a non-ruling opposition party member. It will be headed by a non-ruling opposition party member. So what do you think? Which of the following statements are correct? Let's check. It says A1 only first statement is correct. Yes, it's a Joint Select Committee. Joint. It means the members from both the houses are included here. However, this is headed by a person from a ruling party and not from a non-ruling or the opposition party. Okay, the next one. Which of the following statements are correct? The first statement says Article 331 provides for the nomination of Anglo-Indians to the Lok Sabha by the President. Article 331 provides for the nomination of Anglo-Indians to the Lok Sabha by the President. And as per Article 333, every governor is under an obligation to nominate an Anglo-Indian in his respective state. Now, under an obligation means that he is bound to do it. Right? He doesn't have any choice. He has to do it. That is the meaning of this. Okay. So what do you think? Are both the statements correct here or one of them? Or both are wrong? What do you think? So let's check. It says A1 only. Only first statement is correct here. So President derives the power to nominate an Anglo-Indian through Article 331. Okay. And he can also nominate people to the Rajya Sabha. Please keep this in mind. And as per Article 333, governor is not bound. He is not bound to nominate an Anglo-Indian in any respective state. Okay. This means that governor, he has a choice. He can check the status of the Anglo-Indians in that very particular state, and depending on their very status there, he can choose to nominate, or he can kind of choose to not nominate them also at the same time. Okay, not all the states in India have a Anglo-Indian representation in its Vidhan Sabha, that means in its state legislative assembly. Okay, let's go to the 8th one. Which of the following statements are correct? The first one says RISAT 2BR1 is a radar imaging Earth observation satellite. Okay, and the second one says the satellite will provide service in the field of defense and military purposes. Yes, so what do you think? Which one is right here? Let's check. Okay, it says A1 only. RISAT or RISAT 2BR1 is a radar imaging Earth observation satellite. There is a right answer. It uses radar technology. Okay. However, it is not, it will not be used in the field of defense and military purposes. Rather, it will be used, in the field of agriculture, forestry, and disaster management. Now, this very satellite was flown out of the Earth just a week back. Okay. Next one. And another thing here, regarding that very satellite and that very launch, PSLV was used, and that was the 50th launch of the PSLV, and it was a great celebration actually. Okay, the next one. Recently seen in news, Bougainville wants to be independent from which country? Bougainville. Okay, now this is also pronounced as Bougainville, but however, there's a popular pronunciation as Bougainville. So what are the options here? New Zealand, Philippines, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea. So what do you think? Of the four, which of the countries was this very place belonged, but now they are wanting to go independent? Let's check. And the answer is D, Papua New Guinea. And from that very country, this very Bougainville is trying to go independent. Okay. And the 10th and the last question here of this very part. As recently seen in news, carbon credit is. So what is carbon credit? A new credit scheme from Government of India to carbon-based battery manufacturers. Financial credit given to developing countries to control pollution. And C says economic assistance to smaller countries. And D says a permit to emit carbon dioxide. So what do you think? What is carbon credit here is? So this is a very tricky question. I want you guys to pause it for a minute, read each and every statement properly, and find out the appropriate answer, or the the statement which is gives a quite closer meaning here. So what do you think? Let's check the answer. It says D, a permit to emit carbon dioxide. Yes, a permit to emit carbon dioxide is the right answer here. New credit scheme from Government of India? No, it's not any scheme. Financial credit given to developing countries to control pollution. It's not a financial credit. What do you mean by credit? Credit means kind of a loan, right? This is not a loan. This is not a credit. So B, though it might seem like a very appropriate answer, but that is not the answer. Okay. C says economic assistance to smaller countries. Economic assistance, yes, but for what? That's not mentioned here. So even C, though it might look as a proper answer, but it is not. The only answer here which is correct, the only option here which is correct is D, a permit to emit carbon dioxide. Now you might be wondering, how can that be a permit? How can somebody give a permit to emit carbon dioxide? Yes. Now this very carbon credit came forth through Kyoto Protocol. Okay. Now under Kyoto Protocol, developing countries were given an option here. If developing country is trying to curb air pollution or any pollution for that matter, if they are reducing emission of carbon into the atmosphere, then whatever amount of carbon they have reduced, okay, which they have not emitted into the atmosphere, that very amount of carbon can be sold to a developed country. Now developed country can buy that and they can emit carbon in their country. Let's say if XYZ ton of carbon dioxide was not released by the developing country. Let's say today I am emitting 10 million tons of carbon dioxide in a year. Okay. Now if I reduce 10 million to 7 million, from 10 million to 7 million, that means I have reduced by 3 million tons. Okay. Now this 3 million ton reduction which I have done here, now that can be considered as a carbon credit, and that can be sold to a developed country. Now developed country, when they buy this from a developing country by saying giving some XYZ dollars, now this actually gave them the permission to emit that difference, that is 3 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Okay, now this is how the carbon credit system worked. Now, in the present ongoing COP25, there was this debate whether the carbon credit system should be kind of included in the Paris Agreement. I mean, the older carbon credit, thing which was actually put forth during Kyoto Protocol. But however, the developed countries are not okay with that. They are saying that the very the procedure which was followed in retaining or in selling the carbon credit was not appropriate, and hence they have to kind of redo the whole carbon credit system here. Now, this is actually not acceptable by the developing countries, because developing countries are saying that they have already made huge investments to reduce the carbon dioxide emission, and those credits are already there lying, which are to be sold to the developed countries. In case they are not sold, then that will be a huge loss for developing countries. Okay, so this is the whole concept about carbon credit, and we'll also end the part 2 of this very 3-part series. I hope you were able to learn through these 10 questions here. And in the next part, that is tomorrow, we'll try to understand the 10 more concepts through 10 more MCQs. Until then, like the video, share this with your friend, subscribe to the channel, and get back tomorrow for 10 more questions. Take care. All the best. Bye bye.